Hello, and today I will be showcasing a portfolio piece that I've been working on for some time now. This is a small game prototype, which is a parkour-based game, parkour platformer, and it's got all sorts of obstacles, movement mechanics, it's got some turrets, and I'll just go through and showcase everything and give a short explanation on what everything is and how it's been made. So let's go. So firstly I'll do a playthrough so you guys can get a feel for what is happening here. I will also add that I have put some textures on these. These are mainly just a proof of concept. These aren't final. So right off the bat, here we go. Got a crumbling platform there which disappears. And we've got a double jump, we've got a slide, we've got a wall run with camera tilt that can be done on either direction, which is something for some reason that seems to be quite hard to find other people making when I'm using for reference. If we go up here, we do actually have a little instructions billboard to tell people how to wall run if it's their first time playing. This little circle here is a jump pad, so use this and we'll get shot up into the air. We also have a camera mode, so if I was to press C, we are now a free roaming camera and we can look at ourselves and the rest of the level. In the bottom left you may notice that there is a mini-map which basically shows a little marker above the character as well as any projectiles and the map that we are currently on. Down here we have a second route. The whole point of this game that I want to showcase was the usage of multiple routes for you to just take to complete the level. So on here we'll do a bit of wall running, and at the end that there is a turret that's shooting at us. So hopefully we can avoid it. There we go, successfully avoided the turret. Slide under there. Now we're in this mossy stone area, and then we can run along here, along these platforms, and there we go, we won. Level complete. So yeah, this is the prototype. It's taken me quite a while, so let's quickly look at a few of the things. So for the models, no, sorry, wrong one. For the obstacles, there we go. We've got the jump pad. So this jump pad is pretty simple. So once you go in here, you can set it up. So cast it on overlap, which is the box is this box here, which is basically a invisible in-game box. But if anything comes across this, it'll cast it to the third person character, which is what the player is playing as. Now, the reason it says third person and not first person, even though the game is first person, this was made in the third person blueprint. I did that because it already had some animations in place, so that way I could use those animations to have the hands appearing on the side of the screen and make the game feel a lot better and a lot more like a parkour game with the likes of Mirror's Edge and Titanfall. So once it's cast to the third person character, it means if the third person character basically overlaps with the box, it will edit the character movement and will launch the character in the X velocity by 300 and the Z velocity by 1600, and the Y velocity there's no launch because basically I just wanted it to move you up and forward. I didn't nothing too fancy, mainly just propels you upwards. So then we go into blueprints here. Bin is basically just things that haven't worked out or things that I've scrapped from older projects. It's basically just older versions of turrets and crumbling floors that didn't quite work out. But as you will have seen, there was a small moving platform. So basically, I've just got it so it alternates between two control points, and it will just move between them. And I've set a duration of sorry. So yeah, so I've set a duration for it to move from. So on here, as you can see, these 2 points are things I can move around, and this means that this platform will alternate between these two areas, and the duration should be on here. Yeah, so it does that in between it does this travel in a space of 3 seconds. Now, what was happening originally with it having no duration was it would just move that fast that there's no time from location to location. So as soon as you stood on it, on the moving platform, you would just be propelled out of the game, and it was very broken. And I got some player feedback telling me about that, so that was fixed very, very fast. And honestly, it was quite a simple fix. It was just something I missed in the creation process. Now, for crumbling floor, you will have noticed if I go back into play, if I stand on that, it does change texture. Again, it's more of a placeholder proof of concept texture, but it's to basically show that it's more cracked and it's breaking. So again, on overlap with the box, which is this small box here, for this one did make it bigger than the platform. Cast it to third person character, so if the third person does it, it sets the material, so it changes the material to the brick instead of the wooden one, gives a short delay, and then sets it to invisible and gets rid of its collision physics. So that's how you fall through it, and just to prove that, if I stand on it, it's lost its collision and I've died. Also, something pretty funny is catching him as he's falling with the camera mode. The turret, we are in turret 2. So this one was a little more complicated, but not too much more complicated than the last bit. So I've given it pawn sensing, so if it detects a pawn, which is the character itself that you play as is a pawn, cast to third person character, so if it's a third person character, gets their location, finds it, looks around, gets its rotation correct, then carries out the sequence, so it gets rotation, then it'll delay, and it'll fire, and from the bullet spawner, basically. And the delay may seem quite short, but from feedback given to me from people who've tested this, I basically found out that they didn't like it being a one-shot, so I made it faster firing, but it takes 3 shots to take out the player, because one shot from my reviews were basically saying that it was too hard to complete just for a basic level, especially because this is an early level. So I took that on board, changed it, and as you saw there, it was no problem getting past it. But if I was to stick around, it would have caused me a lot of issues. Wall running is very, very, very in depth. That took the longest time by far. We've got a small health system here with the end screen. So basically, the health system is just if I'm hit 3 times, I get presented with an end screen. And so if we go into the third person character, all of these tabs are to do with wall running essentially. So in the I've basically all of this I've put into a category of wall running. So in here it does include the normal jump, but then I have changed this slightly, which to basically include the double jump. So I reset the preset jump, made it my own, added the ability to double jump. So none of this movement system really is preset besides, I suppose, walking. And then basically here, all we've got is the wall running. So I'll briefly go through this. So on event begin play, you reset your jump. Your max jumps is 1. An issue I was having was I was setting it to 2, thinking that I get 2 jumps, but this is actually 1 more than the base amount of jumps that you get. So I was actually accidentally having triple jump over double jump. So now we have double jump because of that. So it resets, and then that basically means at the beginning, when you start the game, you have 2 jumps whenever you want to do a jump. So on landed, it resets, so you get your second jump every time. You can double jump, and this does mean if you are to wall run upon landing, so if you just land against a wall and can't actually land, you can activate wall running and then get 2 jumps again from that. Some people didn't like that, some people liked that. That was an intended thing for me, as again, inspirations with things like Titanfall, that's something that you could do, so I've kept that. And I don't think it really affects it too much because again, the feedback both said it was good and bad. People either liked it or didn't like it. There was no definite answer, so I'm happy with my decision on that. Input action jump. It uses a jump or consumes a jump, so it takes 1 off of the counter. Launches the character. So yeah, it basically takes one off of that counter of 2 jumps and launches the character, and then it can do it again. And then obviously when there's none, it can't do it again. So here we've got, if you're on a wall, no. True, then you can set up the wall run direction. So, oh, sorry. So if you aren't on the wall, but the surface can be wall run, so you are on the wall, then you get your direction, get your side. If the required keys are pressed, then you begin the wall run and print string. This print string just says hello. It's for a reference for other pieces of blueprinting code. So a lot of these, like can surface be wall ran, is falling, and that are things I've made up here. Then we've got event tick, clamp horizontal velocity, that's a simple one. And then for begin wall run, you get air control, gravity scale, and this basically just means that it keeps you on the wall. As you're going along it, you don't fall off. And then begin camera tilt, which is the thing that makes it look like you are actually wall running. It is first person rather than you just floating or gliding alongside the wall. And then if you're no longer wall running, it ends the camera tilt, as you can see from this one. Also, it does take a jump away from you when you start wall running, because obviously you've jumped to get onto that wall. And then the camera tilt is basically just, again, based on what side of the wall you're on, it tilts the camera that way, and only by a small amount, so it's not unrealistic. So if we go here, okay. So can surface be wall ram? This basically is just determining if a wall is a wall, and so if you are pressing the required keys, you can go alongside it. Find launch velocity. This is basically making it so you can't build up loads of momentum and fly miles away. As people were breaking the game early on without this, and they were getting too far and too fast that they were just skipping entire parts of the game. Then for this one, a required keys pressed. This is very simply just making sure that if they are holding down forward, which in this case is W, A or D based on the direction, and jump to like get on the wall. But then if they're holding the W and D or W and A down, that they are wall running basically. It activates the state of wall running. And as you can see, all of these are small things to make whatever this purple one here is, the clamp horizontal velocity, or one of the past ones. Here we go. Are required keys pressed. It basically, I keep doing that by mistake. So basically, what they are is small things that I've had to make because they aren't things within Unreal Engine. So I've given it a name, given it a type, made sure it worked, and then I've been able to put that into my blueprint. So if we go here, what's it doing? Viewport. So, alright, let me reset that. Right, here we go. So yeah, basically a lot of these, like I said, the launch velocity, falling state, surface wall run state, run directional state, require keys press state, all of these I've made, and then I've added these into the blueprint. So what may look like a somewhat easy blueprint, when you actually look at the work and thought process and testing behind a lot of these, this has taken me a very long time to get down, and honestly the results I'm really happy with. Again, with the multiple routes for the game, you can go through there, you can go around there, you can even go up here, as I showed for the jump pad, although I did fail that. So let's say wall run back. So yeah, I didn't use it correctly last time because I just wanted to showcase the feature more than anything. But as you can see, it lands you in line with that, and then you have to dodge the bullets from the turret and fall. So this is my portfolio piece game prototype. Basically, the game is just 100%. I made all of this, and it's just a very complicated mobility system. for wall running, sliding, double jumping. We've got obstacles. You've got moving platforms, jump pads, turrets. You've got a camera mode, a free camera, camera tilt on the wall run. It's just got a lot of features, and this means that for future projects I can use these. I already know what I'm doing, and I have the basis there for a more developed game in the future. So hope I hope that cleared everything up. Um, and let me know if there's anything that doesn't quite make sense, you want me to explain more, or you're not quite sure how it works, as I made it so I can very much explain it, and I'd be happy to do so.